Okay, good afternoon everyone. So
Yes,
madungog ra ba akong tingog? Klaro ra?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So mag-present na ko sa akong screen. Okay, makita lang screen, everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so good afternoon once again. So my topic for today is all about the inverse of a matrix and LU factorization. Okay, let's start with the inverse of a matrix. So matrix mathematics is a fundamental area of study in linear algebra and various scientific and engineering fields. So one critical concept of within matrix algebra is the inverse of a matrix. So in this report, so we will be exploring the inverse of a matrix, why is it important, and how to compute the inverse of a matrix. So sorry for that interruption. Okay, so definition. So if A is an n by n matrix, so an inverse of A is an n by n matrix, A inverse with the property that A multiplied by its inverse is equals to I, and A inverse multiplied by A is equals to I, where I is equals to I sub n is the n by n identity matrix. So if such an A inverse exists, then that inverse A is called invertible. So if we multiply the matrix by its inverse, so the product is an identity matrix. So question, what is the form of an identity matrix? Unsa forma sa identity matrix? Anyone?
Equal to 1.
Equal to 1. Or in simple words, ang iyang thank you. Kinsa to nito? Lagi na akong makita.
Si Ma'am Alma, ma'am.
Okay. So ano pagkakita? Ang mutingog
Full screen, ma'am.
Naka full screen. Joke. Naka full screen naman sir ni siya.
Oh,
Hindi siya makita. Okay, so the product of A and its inverse is equals to an identity matrix. So identity matrix, so the one, its main diagonal is all one, so one tanan, and the other elements are zero. And another question. So what about if the form of our matrix is an n by m matrix where the row or the number of rows does not match the number of column? Na ba ni siya inverse? Na-inverse ang n by m matrix? Anyone? Kasi maka-answer eh. Wala? Ayu.
can you repeat the question, ma'am?
If the matrix is in the form n by m, that is the number of rows does not match the number of columns, does that matrix have an inverse? Na siya inverse? Wala.
No?
Okay, correct. Thank you. Unsa mo ko kay mo sa to nito bag. Sorry.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so wala siya inverse, no? So it does not have inverse in the traditional sense. Why? That is because they don't meet the criteria of being square matrices. However, they can have a left inverse or a right inverse depending on whether they have full row rank or full column rank respectively. So these inverses are not the same as the traditional square matrix inverse. So, but they can be used in specific context, but we're not be talking about that. So today we'll be talking about the inverse of a square matrix. So that is n by n matrix. Okay, so example, if A is equals to 2, 5, 1, 3, then its inverse, A inverse equals to 3, negative 5, negative 1, and 2 is an inverse of A. Since kung ato na siyang i-multiply, so the product of A and its inverse, 2, 5, 1, 3, times 3, negative 5, negative 1, and 2 is equals to this identity matrix here. So if we'll be performing matrix multiplication, so 2 times 3, 6 plus 5 times negative 1, so manang na 1 ari. Ganito sunod. 5 times negative ganito. Nauha ko. Basta if we multiply that, so the product is an identity matrix, and A inverse multiplied by the original matrix A, 3, -5, -1, 2, 2, 5, 1, and 3 is also an identity matrix. So, pwede siya magkabaylo-baylo. So, A times A inverse, the same ra if multiply ta og A inverse times A. Clear? Kuha na to? Nakuha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for the response. Okay, so what is the importance in solving inverse of the matrix? So we can use it in solving linear systems. So the primary significance of matrix inverses is in solving linear systems of equations. So given a system of equations in matrix form AX equals B, where A is the coefficient matrix, X is the vector of unknowns, and B is the vector of constants. So the solution can be found as X is equals to A inverse times B. So matrix inversion allows us to find the unknown vector X coefficient. Okay, theorem 3.6. If A is an invertible matrix, then its inverse is unique. So if A is an invertible matrix, so usa ra gyud ang iyang inverse. So wala na other matrix. So thanks to this theorem, we can now refer to the inverse of an invertible matrix. So from now on, when A is invertible, we will denote its inverse. So its unique inverse by A raised to the power of -1 pronounced A inverse. So if we compared it to the inverse of a function, so a function can only have an inverse if the function is a one-to-one function. So usa ra gyud na iya ang inverse. Okay, theorem 3.7. So if A is an invertible n by n matrix, then the system of linear equations, so given by AX is equals to B, has the unique solution X equals to A inverse times B for any B in R. Okay, so unsay pasabot ani? So in this section, we return to the matrix description AX equals B of a system of linear equations and look for ways to use matrix algebra to solve the system. So by way of analogy, so let us consider this equation, no? AX equals to B, where A, B, and X represent real numbers and we want to solve for X. So sa atong nahibaw-an, unsa na to pag-solve sa X ani? How do we find X? Anyone who can answer? Saan pagkuha sa X?
Inverse.
Inverse? So if mag-solve to og linear equation, so di ba in finding X, we
Divide
A
both sides.
equals B. O divide. Yes, very good. Thank you. Kinsa to? Okay, bakit? So AX is equals to B. We divide both sides by A to get the value of X, which is B over A. So to imitate this procedure for the matrix equation AX equals to B, so what do we need? Ano ito ang kinahanglan? So take note that in matrix operation, so wala kaya mo'y division. Dili ta pwede maka-divide og matrices. So unsa may atong kinahanglan when we are going to solve for X, when we are solving matrices. So what do we need? So we need to find a matrix. Yes, of course, ato ang inverse, no? So we need to find a matrix, sorry, matrix A inverse that is analogous to 1 over A, such that A inverse multiplied by A is equals to I. So an identity matrix. So we multiplied that inverse, so that particular inverse A inverse to our original inverse. So the product is an identity matrix. So to show that a solution exists, we need only verify that X is equals to A times B, A inverse times B works. So we check that A equals A inverse times B multiplied by A times its inverse times B is equals to identity matrix times B is equals to B. So, ano siya? Okay, next Shurim will answer the question if nakabanay inverse na nga matrix. So, dili ta ng square matrix no na dili ta ng square matrices na ay inverse. So if A is a 2 by 2 square matrix, A, B, C, and D, then A is invertible. So na siya inverse only if AD minus BC is not equal to 0. So in which case, so this is the formula on how to compute our inverse. So A inverse is equals to 1 over AD minus BC. So kani nga expression of this is a scalar. So 1 over AD minus B multiplied by this matrix here. So if you can notice, we interchange the elements sa ato ang main diagonals. So ang A, gibaylo sa D, ang D na nasa babaw, ang A na nasa ubos, puli ni D. And we negate the other elements. So at ang B, nahimong negative D, and ang C nahimong negative C. So mao ni siya pagkuha sa inverse of a 2 by 2 matrix. So if ang ato ang AD minus BC, so ato una po pangitaon na naman is AD minus BC. So if pag-compute na to sa AD minus BC, the answer is 0, then A is not invertible. So unsay pasabot ana? Meaning walay inverse ang ato ang matrix. So the expression AD minus BC is called, daghang lamok. So the expression AD minus BC is called the determinant of A, so denoted that A. So A inverse is equals to 1 over that A. So man ato ang determinant multiplied by kaning matrix. So atong gi-inverse ang main gi-reverse ay gi-interchange ang elements atong main diagonals, and we negate the sign of the other diagonal. Okay, so example. Find the inverses of A equals 1, 2, 3, and 4, and B equals 12, negative 5, 4, negative 5. So if they exist. So I will give you time to solve. Okay, 1 minute. So find the inverse of A and inverse of B if na sila inverse. Lapaspas ra ko na istorya. Paspas ra. Ingnan ako paspas ha. Okay, masabtan naman ka ha.
Okay ra, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, kasi naka-answer. Nanay naka-answer? Anyone? Mas ano pagkita sa participants? Dito din siya makita. Kasi answer. What is the inverse of matrix A? Wala?
Negative 2, 1,
2,
1.5, and negative 0.5.
Okay, so atong tanawan if sakto ba. Thank you. Si Antonito. Thank you, Senator Bag. Okay, so first, so we have that A. So we find the determinant. So AD minus BC. So 1 times 4. That is 4 minus 2 times 3, which is 6. So 4 minus 6 is negative 2. And negative 2 is not equal to 0. So we can conclude that A is invertible. So let's find its inverse. So giunsa to? Multiply. So A inverse equals 1 over negative 2. 4 times 4, negative 2, negative 3, and 1. So atong gi-interchange ang 1 and 4, and we negate 2 and 3. So nahimo na siyang negative 2 and negative 3. So again, ano sa ito answer ni Muton?
Negative 2, 1,
Negative 2, 1.
1.5 or 3 over 2, and negative 0.5 or negative 1/2.
Okay, thank you. So the answer no is correct. So mao na ni siya ato ang inverse. So the inverse of A is negative 2 So negative 1 half times 4 is negative 2. Negative 1 half times negative 2 is positive 1. Negative 1 half times negative 3 is positive 3 halves. And negative 1 half times 1 is negative 1 half. So, mo siya ato ang inverse. So, nakuha ra gyud sa to. Mga chairs. Nakuha. Unsa pagkita og naay reaction? Please kuno ko like or heart react if nakuha. Wala lagi makita.
Naka full screen man ka, ma'am.
So, sana pag dili pag full screen.
Idu.
Saan pag double window? Like inganoon siya? Ganaan?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Pero sa inyong nakita sa akong screen,
Kana.
sige. Okay, mo dito.
Kuan raman, read view, ma'am.
Okay, balik ko no, like or heart react. Wala, Jude. So, na ako makita.
Ma'am, ikuan kani, ma'am, oh. Kaya bitong naaning nay negative o are. Kani,
Asa?
oh, read view.
Ay, review.
Sige, atong notes, ma'am. Sumpay ato.
Ani?
Sige pa, anong pikas? Kana, muna pinduta.
Okay.
Okay, yan.
Ay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
nya.
ayan, ma'am.
Siya na ko. Makita na ay. Pwede ko
Yes.
na kukuan.
Makita
React.
na. Oh.
Nay ni react.
I-minimize po, ma'am.
Ay. So, makita na
I-minimize.
eh.
I-minimize po to ang saingan na to. Katong
So,
usa nimo.
Kuan.
Katong kaning ato ang classroom ba?
Okay. Ang Chrome ako i-minimize.
Yeah. Ipanundog pod.
Sige,
Yan. Oh, ayan. Oh.
Kung niya ako pa rin padakon.
Ayun na.
Dili na. Okay ra ninyo?
Asa naman to atong Google Classroom.
Okay, wait sa ha.
Oh, kana isibog na, ma'am, aring pikas. Nakuha na dyan na, besh. Pitong na X niya. Oh, kuan siya, ma'am, imurag i-minimize pa siya.
Ay, ito, makita ra siya.
Sure.
Okay na siya. Also, i-choose naman. Dili entire screen. Sige. Okay. Okay na? Makita na ang kuan?
Wa pa.
Ay, mas di mao akong tutukan. Sige.
Stop.
Adara di ay. Okay na.
Oh, kana, ma'am.
Sige.
Okay na.
Yeah.
Sige. Nakita na po ni mo, ma'am.
Okay, paliho ko na ko react. Okay na.
Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations, ma'am.
Okay, so balik ta. So find the inverse of B. So B is 12, negative 15, 4, and negative 5. So kinsay maka-answer? Kinsay maka-answer?
No inverse, ma'am.
Oh, yes, thank you. Very good. So wala siya inverse. Nga naman.
Ma-equate to 0 man siya.
Okay, so if we subtract 12 times negative 5 with 15 times 4, so the answer is 0. So atong determinant is 0. Therefore,
Ma-undefined lang siya.
B is not invertible. So dili siya ma-invert. Okay, next. Another example. So find the inverses of A. A is 4, 7, 1, 2, and B is 3, 4, 6, and 8. So if they exist. So, kasi maka-answer.
A is invertible.
Yes, thank you. Very good. A is invertible. So, what
And
is the
B,
inverse of A?
2, -7, -1, 4.
Okay, 2, -7, -1, and 4. So, ato i-check if sakto ba. So, ato ang determinant is positive 1. So, 4 times 2 minus 7 times 1 is 1. So, dili siya equal to 0. Then, na siya inverse. So, 1, A inverse is equals to 1 over 1 or 1 multiplied by 2, -7, -1, and 4. So, i-multiply na to siya 1. Then, from Sir Rafael's discussion, ang atong answer is the matrix. So, 2, -7, -1, and 4. So, ato arang gi-interchange ang two main diagonals, 2 and 4, and we negate 1 and 7. So, mo ni siya ito ang inverse. 2, -7, -1, and 4. Okay, what about inverse of matrix B? Naa siya inverse or wala? Okay, wala siya inverse because our determinant is equals to 0. So 3 times 8 equals 24 minus 4 times 6 equals 24. So 24 minus 24 is equals to 0. So B is not invertible. Okay, nasabtan na? Nasabtan na mga moms and sirs. Okay, thank you so much. Nakita na dyan ko sa reaction. Okay, so properties of invertible matrices. So the following theorem records some of the most important properties of invertible matrices. So first, if A is an invertible matrix, then A inverse is invertible, and the inverse of A inverse is the original matrix A. So kung atong pangitaon ang inverse sa ato ang A inverse, so mubalik na siya sa A, ang atong original matrix. So bali-bali na sila. B, so if A is an invertible matrix and C is a non-zero scalar, then C times A or CA is an invertible matrix, and the inverse of CA or CA inverse is equals to 1 over C times the inverse A inverse. Next theorem is if A and B are invertible matrix of the same size, then AB is invertible, and the inverse of AB is the same with B inverse multiplied by A inverse. So the same na sila. So kung i-multiply ang A and B, so na naka matrix AB, and you find its inverse, so the same na siya or equal na siya, the same matrix. If ato ang A, kuan ang inverse sa B and inverse sa A, then we multiply the inverses of the two. So they are equal. And letter D, if A is an invertible matrix, then the transpose of A is invertible, and the inverse of its transpose is equals to the transpose of the inverse. So, bali-bali ra siya. So, if A is an invertible matrix, then A raised to the power of n is invertible for all non-negative integers, and A raised to the power of n inverse is equals to A inverse raised to the power of n. So, muna siya. So, these are the fundamental theorem of invertible matrices. So, let's try to remember atong timan-an sila nga mga theorem. So, let A be an n by n matrix. So, the following statements are equivalent. So, A is invertible. Ax is equals to B has a unique solution for every B in R. So, na siya unique solution. So, kung saan ganito papangitan nato sa solution X. So, to find X, we multiply B with the inverse of A. So, na siya. And Ax is equals to 0 has only the trivial solution. And the reduced row echelon form of A is an identity matrix I sub n. And A is a product of elementary matrices. So, ano na musod ang pwede ay sa data. Okay, so theorem 3.13. So let A be a square matrix. So if B is a square matrix such that either AB is equals to I or BA is equals to I, then A is invertible and B is equals to A inverse. So kung ato na siyang i-analyze. So going back to the definition, so diba definition of an n by n matrix, so matrix multiplied by its inverse is equals to I. So the same way, kung AB, ang product is I, or BA, yung product is I, then it follows that A is invertible and B, mao na yung inverse. Okay, next. So, theorem 3.14. So, kung ako ni siyang i-reading mode, mga ma'am, so, dili ma-apply tong kuan. Kana bitaw, si tawag ana. Dili mo apply ang, ano bitaw mo fly in? Animations, oh. Di siya ma-apply? I-apply ba? Dili siya ni-apply mo. Sige na lang, eh. Okay, so 3.14. So let A be a square matrix. So if a sequence of elementary row operations reduces A to I, so we perform elementary row operations to our matrix A to reduce it to an identity matrix, then the same sequence of elementary row operations transforms I into the inverse of A, so, or A inverse. So mo nang naatay, we will use this method in computing our inverse. So the Gauss-Jordan method. So unsa ni siya nga method? So the Gauss-Jordan method is a well-known technique for computing the inverse of a square matrix. So it is an extension of the Gaussian elimination method. So na-discuss na ni siya sa mga previous reporters. So which is used, so this method is used to solve systems of linear equations and find the row echelon form of a matrix. So the Gauss-Jordan method takes the row echelon form a step further to obtain the reduced row echelon form, which directly reveals the inverse of the matrix. So mao niya ang steps. So first, wala gina-apply ang animation. Okay. So first step is we augment the matrix. So saan na to pag-augment sa ato ang matrix? So start with the square matrix A for which you want to find the inverse. So we create an augmented matrix. So muna to ang matrix A. Then we draw a bar, a vertical bar. Then sa pika side ang nga bar is our identity matrix. So I is our identity matrix of the same size as A. So if ang ato ang matrix nga pangitaan og inverse or matrix A is a 3 by 3 matrix, then ang ato ang identity matrix sa other side sa ato ang matrix, sa ato ang augmented matrix should be a 3 by 3 identity matrix. Then after augmenting the matrix, so we perform row elementary operations. So perform row operations on the augmented matrix to transform it into row echelon form, and then reduce row echelon form. Okay, so to do that, we perform row operations. So there are many different row operations. So pwede tang mag row switching, row scaling, and row replacement. So ato ang goal, so the goal is to transform the left part of the augmented matrix, so matrix A, into the identity matrix while ensuring that the right part remains the same. So ato ang goal, kaning A bitaw nga naa sa left part sa ato ang augmented matrix, so mahimo ni siyang identity matrix. So that is, ato ang diagonals are all 1 and the other elements of our matrix are all 0. So atong i-transform ning A into an identity matrix and retaining where the ensuring that the right part remains the same. So kaning right part, 'di ba? Identity matrix man ni. So after natong pag perform og different row operations, so dili na siya ma-identity matrix. So inig ma-achieve na nato atong goal nga mahimo ng identity matrix ang ato ang left side of our augmented matrix, then the right part or the right side mao na ni siya ang ato ang inverse. So nasabtan ang process, do wala pa yung example. Nasabtan? Yuhu! Okay, thank you so much. Wow, Ma'am Alma. Okay, so step 3. So reduce row echelon form. So continue the row operations until the entire left part of the augmented matrix A becomes the identity matrix. So when you achieve this, the right side of the augmented matrix will contain the inverse of the original matrix. Then after that, we extract the inverse. So after the augmented matrix is in reduced row echelon form and the left part has become the identity matrix, so the right side of the augmented matrix will be the inverse of matrix A. So after that, we verify the result. Pero verifying the result is an option rin siya. So to verify that you have successfully found the inverse, so we multiply the inverse matrix by the original matrix. So kanusa na to ma-confirm nga sakto ato ang nakuha nga inverse? If anyone? So when we multiply, kano sana to ma-confirm nga sakto ang ato ang nakuha nga inverse? Answer pod mo bisag wala ko yamoy pang Gcash ninyo. Kano sana to ma-confirm nga sakto ato ang nakuha nga inverse upon verifying? Okay, thank you, Ma'am Melanie. No? So, if ato siyang i-multiply, excuse me, kung ato siyang i-multiply the product of the original matrix and the inverse is the identity matrix. So, correct. Kung identity matrix, then mauto sakto atong nakuha nga inverse. So, let's try this example. Okay, so find the inverse of this 3 by 3 matrix A. So 1, 2, negative 1, 2, 2, 4, 1, 3, and negative 3. So if it exists. So by the way, katong ahong formula yata ganina, ma-apply rato siya if ang ato ang matrix is a 2 by 2 matrix. So kung daghan na ato ang row, daghan na atong column, so we should use this method. Okay, so first we should proceed by adjoining the identity matrix to A and then trying to manipulate AI into I. Then sa other side, so the right side of our augmented matrix is the inverse. Okay, so mo ni siya to ang augmented matrix. So we have here 1, 2, negative 1, 2, 2, 4, 1, 3, and negative 3. And sa right side of our matrix is our identity matrix. So, mani siya yung forma. So, 1 ang ato ang diagonals and the other elements should be 0. So, ato ang goal is mahimong 0, ay mahimong the same, mahimong identity matrix kani nga nasa left side. Okay, so we perform different row operations. So, kahibaw na mo unsaon ni right. So, we-discuss na po siya before. So, we can perform different row operations. Daghan siya way, actually. Okay, so, in here, first step, we subtract row 2 minus 2 times row 1. And for row 3, we subtract row 3 minus row 1. Aron mahimong 0 ning ato ang 2 and 1 sa aring first column. Okay, so the result will be wala na touch ang ato ang first row. Then the second column, so row 2, 2 minus 2 times row 1. So 2 minus 2 is 0. So na 0 na siya. Then ato na siyang gi-perform apil ani. So dili na siya ato tagsa-tagsaon no. Kaybaw man siguro mo unsaon ni. Or nay wala kaybaw. Kaybaw man siguro tanan. Am I right? Okay, thank you for the reactions. Okay, so kani siya ang ato ang identity matrix naguba na siya no. Ay mo na siya negative 2, 1, 0. And row 3 minus row 1. So 1 minus 1, mahimo na siyang 0. So become 1, negative 2, then negative 1, 0, and 1. Sunod, so we perform another row operation. So ako na siyang i-copy. So ato na pong sunod buhaton atong himuong 1 ning negative 2. So we multiply the row 2 by negative 1/2. Kinahimo na siyang 1, 2, negative 1. So, row 1 and row 3, wala siya natandog. So, nahimo ni siyang 1, negative 3, 1, negative 1 half, and 0. Next, we subtract row 3 minus row 2. Aron mahimong positive 1 ang kaning third row, third column. So, mahimo ni siyang positive 1. Kani di ay, aron mahimo ni siyang 0, sorry. Amo lagi, the same purpose. So, 1, 2, negative 1, 0, 1, negative 3, so 0, 0, 1. So, halfway na ta sa ato ang identity matrix. So, mo na ni nahitabo sa ato ang other side. Then, sunod, ato ni siyang himuong 0 gini siya tanan. So, 2, mahimo ni siyang 0, negative 1, 0, negative 3 will be 0. So, we add row 1 plus row 3. Row 1 plus row 3 and row 2 plus 3 times row 3. So, mahimo na siyang 1, 2, 0, negative 1, 1 half, 1, 0, 1, 0, negative 5, 1, 3, 0, 0, 1, negative 2, 1 half, and 1. So, wala pa tanahuman, kinapay 2. So, dapat ma-0 ng ato ang 2. So, we subtract row 1, subtracted by 2 times row 2. Ang mahimong 0 ang 2 sa babaw. Okay na. So, nanatay identity matrix. So, na-reach na nato ato ang goal nga mahimong identity matrix ang ato ang matrix A. So, therefore, what is the inverse of matrix A? So, who can tell me the inverse of matrix A?
The inverse of matrix A is 9, negative 1.5, negative 5, negative 5, 1, 3, negative 2.5, and 1.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Alma. Okay, so therefore, A inverse is equals to kaning matrix nga naa sa to ang right side. So, 9, negative 3 halves, negative 5, negative 5, 1, 3, negative 2, negative 1, and 1. So, nasabtan ang process or naay kalibugan, pangutana. Okay, daghan ang may like, so walay pangutana. Next, thank you. Okay, so find the inverse of A equals 2, 1, negative 4, negative 4, negative 1, 6, negative 2, 2, and negative 2 if it exists. I will give you time to answer. So you compute the inverse using the Gauss-Jordan method. Okay, nag-solve mo, mga ma'ams? Ay na kung nanay naka-answer ha. Thank you. Okay, wala. Sige, should I proceed? Taas-taas ra ba ang process? Taas siya ang process.
Murag walay inverse, ma'am.
Wala siya inverse. So, ano nakaingon man ka nga walay inverse, sir? So, nga wala siya inverse. So, correct. Wala siya inverse. So, why?
It's not possible nga ma-interchange ang identity since ma-zero ang last row.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Alma and Sir Anthony. Okay, so if we perform different row operations, so dili siya nato mahimong identity matrix. So why? So nag-perform ta, so ato siyang gi-add. So we perform different row operations. So niabot ta ring nga part. So row 3 minus 3 times row 2. So niabot to ani nga part. So awa ato ang resultant matrix. So 0, 0, 0. So kay 0 man ang tanang 0 ang element sa aning row 3. So dili impossible nga maka-create ta og identity matrix. So therefore this matrix here A does not have an inverse. So dili siya invertible. Okay, so dili na siya natin padayon kay di naman possible nga makagama og identity matrix. So at this point, we see that it is not possible to reduce A to I since there is a row of zeros on the left-hand side of the augmented matrix. So consequently, A is not invertible. Okay? Nakuha? Okay, thank you. Okay, so the concept of the inverse of a matrix. Okay. Likes. Okay, the concept of the inverse of a matrix is a fundamental aspect of linear algebra with wide-ranging applications in mathematics, engineering, computer science, and more. So understanding how to compute the inverse of a matrix is essential for solving systems of linear equations and determining the properties of a matrix, such as its singularity. So mastery of matrix inversion is a valuable skill in many scientific and engineering fields, making it a cornerstone of mathematical knowledge. Okay, that's all for the inverse of a matrix. So any clarifications or question regarding the process on how to identify if the matrix has an inverse or how to find its inverse? So wala na ipangutana na sabtan ra to. Okay, thank you for that reactions. Okay, let's proceed to the LU factorization. So, unsa man yung LU factorization? So, I believe nga, nakadungog na ba buwan ng LU factorization before? So, kaning inverse of a matrix, kaya discuss naman ni sa college, but LU factorization, naa ba? Murag wala, no? Okay, so what is LU factorization? So from the word factorization, of course, we find the factor of our matrix. So unsaon na siya pagkuha. So just as it is natural to factor a natural number into a product of other natural numbers. So for example, 30, the factors of 30 are 2 times 3 times 5. So it is also frequently helpful to factor matrices as products of other matrices. So any representation of a matrix is as a product of two or more other matrices is called a matrix factorization. So for example, so this matrix here, 3, -1, 9, -5 is equals to, so 1, 0, 3, and 1 times 3, -1, 0, and -2 is a matrix factorization. So kung ato ni siyang i-times ng duha ka matrix, so the product is our original matrix. So mao ni ang factor sa ato ang matrix. So take note lang na the matrix, so an n by n matrix is invertible and has an LU factorization. And if na siya LU factorization, ang factors or the factors of the matrix are unique. So usa ra gyud ang ang unique ra, usa ra ang factor. So dili pareha bitaw if 30 for example, 5 times 6. So pwede po siya 3 and 10. Sakto ba? Talaga 3 and 10 and 1 and 30. But in matrix factorization, unique ang iyaang factors. So wala na siya na-appeal sa ako ang presentation. Sorry. Okay, let's proceed. So LU factorization, this is short for lower upper factorization, is a fundamental matrix decomposition technique used in numerical linear algebra. So this method decomposes a given square matrix into the product of two matrices. So a lower triangular matrix, so muna siya L, and an upper triangular matrix U. So muna L, U, factorization, lower and upper. Okay, so definition. So let A be a square matrix. So a factorization of A as A is equals to LU, where L is unit lower triangular, and U is upper triangular, is called an LU factorization of A. So, say forma ana. So, given this matrix A, so we have here a 3 by 3 matrix. So, 2, 1, 3, 4, -1, 3, negative 2, 5, 5. So ato ang goal is to produce two factors and the form of these factors should be like this. So ang ato ang L, mani up lower triangular, so the main diagonals should compose of 1. So dapat 1 ni siya tanan. And upper triangle, kani upper triangular matrix or unit should all be 0. So mo ano ito ang goal. So ang L, mo iporma. And this asterisk here are any real numbers. So any real numbers ni siya. And the form of U should be like this. So this is the upper triangular unit. So it composed of any real number. And the lower triangular is, should be all 0. So mo ni goal na to nga makaproduce taog two matrices, that is a factor of our matrix with this form. So L, main diagonal is 1, babaw kay 0, and any real number sa ubos. And U, so kaning upper, kaning lower are all 0 and upper are any real numbers. So pwede na siya any numbers. Resabtan or paspas ra ko. Nakuha raw sa forma sa LU factorization. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's proceed. So example, sorry. So theorem 3.15. So if A is a square matrix that can be reduced to row echelon form without using any row interchanges, then A has an LU factorization. So dili ta mag-perform og row interchange. So di atong i-interchange ang row 1 to row 3. So dili ta pwede mag-perform. So to see why the LU factorization is useful, so let us consider a linear system AX equals to B, where the coefficient matrix has an LU factorization A is equals to L times U, so LU. So we can rewrite the system AX equals to B as LU X is equals to B or L times UX is equals to B. So if we now define Y is equals to UX, then we can solve for X in two stages. So first, we solve Ly is equals to B for Y by forward substitution. So mugamit og forward substitution. And next, after that, we solve UX equals to Y for X by back substitution. So each of these linear systems is straightforward to solve because the coefficient matrices L and U are both triangulars. Triangular siya forma. Okay, so let's find the LU factorization of this matrix. So, kani nga matrix mo na akong gipakita ganina. So, 2, 1, 3, 4, negative 1, 3, negative 2, 5, 5. So, let's find the factors. So, saan na ito pagpangita sa factors ani nga matrix? So, di ba, if magkuha tag factor sa yun raman if linear equation. Pero kaning matrix, ito ang gamit mag-use og LU factorization. So, ito ang goal is first, we should transform A into U. So, unsa ganito yung forma sa U? Unsa yung forma sa U? So, una na itong buhaton is we transform A. So, dapat mahimo siyang forma sa U. So, unsa yung forma sa U di ay? So, ako itong ipakita sa akong previous slide. Anyone? Unsa nga ay answer? Answer, Anthony?
Nung upper nga ko ano?
Yes, upper. Ang U.
Kuan, 2, 1, 3, negative 1, 3, and 5.
Unsa to? Unsa to, sir?
2, 1, 3, negative 1, 3, and 5.
Okay, so dapat mahimo siyang ingani nga forma, no? So, kung balikon lang ha. So, kani siya. So, dapat 0, 0 ang sa ubos. And sa baba kay any real numbers. So, thank you for that answer, Ton. Okay, so to transform A to U, we should perform row operations. So, balik-balik na tayo row operations, no? So, mo perform tag different row operations. So, ang goal is mahimong kaning 4, negative 2, and 5 mahimong 0, di ba? No? So, mahimo na siyang 0. Okay, so we should subtract row 2 minus 2 times row 1 and row 3 plus R1 aron mahimo ni siyang 0. Okay, so muna niya ang forma. So, wala na hilabtan ato ang first row. So, 4. So, row 2 minus 2 times row 1. So, 4 minus 2 times 2. So, mahimo na siyang 0. So, negative 1 will become negative 3. 3 will become negative 3. Then, row 3 plus row 1. So, negative 2 plus 2. So, manang 0. So, this will become 6. And last is 8. So, sunod, na pa may 6. So, kaning 6 ato ang himuong 0 na sad. So, we add row 3 plus 2 times row 2. So, remember lang, it is important that we should do row operations from top to bottom. So, magsugod dito sa first row, ay sa second row. Kaya ang first row, di naman nato hilabtan. Kaya kanina mang second and third row, dapat mahimong 0. So, mag-start ka sa from the second row, then third row, then sa second column sa third row. So, dapat in order na siya. Okay, so muna ni siya ang mahitabo. So, 2, 1, 3, 0, negative 3, negative 3, 0, 0, 2. So, maon niya ang ato ang U. So, this is ang usa ka factor sa ato ang original matrix. So, next is atong pangitaon ang L. So, how are we going to find L, or the lower triangular unit? So, naman tayo other factor. So, L. So, in the elementary row operation, so R sub I is minus K R sub J. So, we will refer to the scalar K as the multiplier. So, na-perform ang different row operations. So, we should, in aning a form, Ri minus KRJ. So, in the example, so the elementary row operations that were used were so in order. So, naatay R2 minus 2R1. So, let's find the multiplier. So, ingani man ato ang form. So, Ri minus K RJ. So, K mo ni ato ang scalar. So, mo ni atong multiplier. So, R2 minus 2Ri. So, our scalar is positive. Our multiplier rather is positive 2. So, nakuha. So, minus K man. So, dili ta mabutang og negative 2. So, positive 2. Okay, second row operation, R3 plus Ri, R1 di. So, our multiplier is negative 1. So, 3 minus negative 1 to make it positive times R1. So, our multiplier is negative 1. And for the third operation, so R3 plus 2R2. So, kaninga operation equals to R3 minus, ato ni siya himuong negative 2. Okay, dapat lagi nga nga form. So, our multiplier is negative 2. So, nakuha yun sa pagkuha ang multipliers. Okay, so hapit na ang time no. 9 minutes na lang before ang time. Sige. Okay, so mao ni atong multiplier. Sa purpose sa multiplier di ay. So, the multiplier can be used to make our L. So, the multipliers are precisely the entries. So, kani atong multipliers, mao ni ang entries of L that are below its diagonal. Diba ang ato ang L kay ang ubos are any real numbers and the main diagonals are 1 and sa babaw kay dapat 0. So, mao na ni form sa ato ang L, no? So, the entries sa aning asterisk, mao na ang ato ang multiplier. So, mao na ni siya ato ang L. So, for 2, for 0, diba, ito man siyang perform nga operations to make it 0. So, mao ni ato ang multiplier ang positive 2. So, we substitute 2 here. So, mao na ni ang kaan. So, for negative 1, so 0, ang negative 1 na rin nato ibutang. Kay kanima itong buhat, ano ma 0 ni siya nga part. And, sa third row and second column, so ato ang butangan og negative 2 for the third multiplier. So, mao na ni forma sa ato ang L. So nakuha mga ma'am, sirs. Okay, thank you Ma'am Fatima, Sir Abis. Okay, so therefore, so the factors of A equals 2, 1, 3, 4, negative 1, 3, negative 2, 5, 5 are, so kani sila mo ni ato ang L, 1, 0, 0, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, and 1. And ato ang U, so 2, 1, 3, 0, negative 3, negative 3, 0, 0, and positive 2. So kung ato ni siyang i-multiply, so we perform matrix multiplication. So the answer should be this matrix here. Okay. So another example. So use an LU factorization of A. So the same example. To solve AX equals to B, where B is equals to 1, negative 4, and 9. So, ato na ning kuan mo ni ato ang LU. So, mo ni ato ang factor. So, mo ni atong nakita ganina. So, the same example na siya. So, atong pangitaon is we solve for x. So, as stated earlier, to solve ax is equals to b, which is the same as, the same as sila og L multiplied by ux is equals to b. Una na itong buhaton is we first solve ly equals to b for y equals y sub 1, y sub 2, and y sub 3. So, this is just the linear system. So, kana siya. Di sa man ni siya gikan. So, gikan ni siya, aning ato ang L, di ba? Ly equals to B. So, y sub 1, so kanya siya, is equals to 1, ato ang B. 2y sub 2, ay 2y sub 1 plus y sub 2 equals to negative 4. Then, negative 1 man ato ang sa last row. Negative 1, so negative y sub 1 minus negative 2 y sub 2 plus y sub 3 is equals to 9. So to find y sub 1, y sub 2, y sub 3, so we perform the forward substitution. That is working from top to bottom. So this yields, so y sub 1 is equals to 1. Then we substitute the value of y sub 1 to find y sub 2. So y sub 2 is equals to negative 4. Atong i-transpose ang 2 y sub 1. So nahimo siyang negative 2y sub 1. So negative 4 minus 2 times y sub 1 nga 1. So negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. So money value sa ato ang y sub 2. And y sub 3, 9. Transpose na to ang negative y sub 1. So 9 plus y sub 1 plus positive plus 2y sub 2. So 9 plus y sub 1, which is 1. So 10 plus 2 times y sub 2. So 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. So 10 plus negative 12. So we get the value of y sub 3, which is negative 2. Nakuha? Nakuha mga ma'ams? Nakuha siguro eh. Yes, thank you. Okay, so thus y is equals to manitong y sub 1, y sub 2, and y sub 3, 1, negative 6, and negative 2. So after that, we now solve ux is equals to y to find the values of x. So x sub 1, x sub 2, and x sub 3. So this linear system is, amo ni siya, gikan po ni siya sa ato ang u. So atong gi-substitute sa ato ang u nga kani siya. So we write this into this systems of linear equation. So 2x sub 1 plus x sub 2 plus 3x sub 3 equals to 1. So mo na itong y. Negative 3x sub 2 minus 3x sub 3 is equals to negative 6. And 2x sub 3 is equals to negative 2. So sa pagpangita sa y is we do forward substitution now. Ito na pong buhaton is back substitution. So by and back substitution quickly produces. So arita sugod sa ubos padong sa babaw. So 2x sub 3 is equals to negative 2. So dividing both sides by 2, we get the value of x sub 3, which is negative 1. Okay, so ang x sub 2 na sad. So to find x sub 2, so negative 3x sub 2 equals negative 6. Atong di-transpose ang negative 3x sub 3. So naman na siyang plus 3x sub 3, which is equals to negative 6 plus 3 times negative 1. So natay negative 9. Then, ay kalimot diya pang negative 3. So divide both sides by negative 3. So our x sub 2 is positive 3. Then to find x sub 1, so 2x sub 1 equals to 1 minus x sub 2 minus 3x sub 3 equals to 1. Then 1 minus x sub 2, which is 3, so negative 1 minus 3 is negative 2, minus 3 times x sub 3, which is negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 is positive 3, so negative 2 plus positive 3, which is equals to 1. Then divide both sides by 2. So the value of x sub 1 is 1 half. So mauna ni siya. So therefore, the solution to the given system ax equals to b is x equals, there are 1 half. So x sub 1, 1 half is makalimot mo ha. So ari, x sub 1 is 1 half, x sub 2 is 3, x sub 3 is negative 1. Okay, so happy to tamahuman. Okay, conclusion. So LU factorization is a powerful matrix decomposition technique that plays a crucial role in various areas of mathematics, sciences, and engineering. So it simplifies the process of solving linear systems, calculating the determinants, and finding matrix inverses. So understanding the LU factorization process and its applications is fundamental for anyone working with numerical methods and linear algebra in practical problem-solving scenarios. Okay, so that would be all for my topic. Thank you for listening, or namoy pangutana. So mo entertain ko og question. So more to siya time po 6:29 p.m. na. Nakaya rin sa time. Okay, thank you everyone. Mo stop sharing na ko.